Hey everybody, it's Matthew of Mr. Domestic. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome! Here I am all about spreading joy and positivity through sewing and fabric play. So if that sounds neato to you, make sure to subscribe to my channel. But this video in particular is all about tear-free foundation paper piecing. What? If you've ever done foundation paper piecing, there's a process where you sew over paper and then you tear it off in the end. But this method, you don't have to. Look. I didn't stitch through the paper here. It's bananas. So once you learn this technique, it is going to blow your mind. So if that's what you're here for, anytime you're enjoying this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Now let's get ready to have some fun together. In this video, I wanted to take some time to teach y'all about tear-free, could also be tear-free, but tear-free foundation paper piecing. These are the supplies that you will need. You need a rotary cutter and an add-a-quarter. I would suggest the 12-inch because it has a fine edge and the 6-inch does not. We'll use that later. You'll need some fabric and then you need freezer paper. I like this pre-cut fabric because it's the perfect size for my printer. It's already 8.5 by 11, but I think that Reynolds Wrap or whatever, those kind of freezer paper works. Just haven't used it myself. And then you'll need to print whatever you're going to do. Once again, I'm going to use this heart bottom just as an example, and you can get the link in the description for this if you wanted to play around with it. And this paper has two sides. It has the waxy side, and then it has the paper side. You want to make sure to print on the paper side and not the waxy side. And then in addition to this, you'll need an iron and an ironing mat. Keep your iron like on low, medium heat. You don't need high heat. You don't need steam for this. So now I'm going to take this over to my ironing mat, which is different to do the first part. So I've already cut this. Move some of this out of the way, and whatever you are going to use for this one, this will blow your mind. The first time that I did this, it blew my mind. You might want to get it in there towards like an inch. This is where you use the iron. What? Crazy. See? It's not going anywhere. The wax on here keeps it. Right. And then from here, this is where you use the fine edge of the add-a-quarter to fold this over right on that line. You don't even need the add-a-quarter for it. If you just wanted to pinch it right on that line. Ta-da! And then you'll take your second piece right here. See, I'll show you once again. Not going anywhere. It's stuck. Take your second piece, line it up right there on the edge, and then I'm going to take this over to Felicia, my sewing machine, and show you how this is done. So if you have foundation paper pieced before, you know at this point you need to get the stitch a little bit shorter. I generally sew at a 1.6 stitch length. For this type, you do not need to. And what you are going to do, you're going to sew right on the edge, not on the paper, but use this as a guideline. And I am using a 2.5 length stitch. So just the standard stitch length, catching it right on the edge, not getting that paper. This is crazy. Okay, cut it. And I'll show you, see? Can you see? I did not get on the paper, just on the edge, and now I'm going to take this back over to my ironing. So the first thing before you iron, you would want to, I like to do this for all of my pieces, just to make sure that it's a 1/4 inch. Use the add-a-quarter, butt it up against that, and slice this. This just makes the seams cleaner and prettier in my mind. And then put this away, bring back your sewing mat, and this is where more of the magic happens. I'm going to flip this over like this, see? So it's the paper side down, waxy side up. Fold this over, right? Because this side is already there, it's already affixed, not going anywhere. Use that iron, light, medium heat. just enough to bond that wax business to the fabric. And then you're gonna flip it back over and do it again, right? So I'm not even using the add quarter here, just finger pressing along, see this here? That on the paper. And then this is where I would, once again, use my add a quarter. And I like to use this as a guide. It just makes it so much easier whenever I trim in between to line up the next one. See? And then I'll just line this up to here because I know it's good to go. And then I will take this back over to my sewing machine and stitch this up. And so once again, I have this and that piece of fabric lined up, and I am just going to sew right on the outside of that paper, using that paper as an edge. If you wanted to whip out your edge foot for this just to ensure that you were right on that edge but not getting the paper, feel free to do so. I like to eyeball stuff once in a while, but if I get sleepy, I might just do that. Okay, got to there. I'll show you once again the stitch. See, I did not get the paper. Right on the edge. Taking it back over to my mat. Okay, so once again, I have this once again over at my ironing bat. I put this side down. Flip this here. Grab my iron. It's on a medium setting, I think. It's like in between wool and cotton is where I have it. Get that there. And see, look, I mean, even the seams are super duper crisp, as if they were stitched. Bring this back over here. Once again, I'm gonna fold that. This is how you'd use the add a quarter if you wanted to. See how I'm putting it right there? And then fold it right over just to ensure a nice crisp straight line. Remove my mat, use my add a quarter, trim it. I think you're getting the gist of it by now. So I'm going to do the next 2 squares a little sped up, but so you can still see it. And then I will meet you when it's all done. So now I have done all of the stitching. All I have left to do is to press this final seam, making sure that it's good to go. All of the seams are crisp. Remove this. Trim off this last bit. And then this final part, if you foundation paper pieced before, is going to blow your mind. Okay, so the block is squared up with the 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then look, no stitches. Let me show you. Crazy, crazy. That was straight up foundation paper pieced with no tearing of the paper, and you can reuse this as many times as it will iron. So mind blown! Now that you have learned this technique in foundation paper piecing that is both tear-free and tear-free, you can start looking for avenues where you can utilize it. It's not going to be every single foundation paper piecing project. For me, if it gets those itty-bitty like abstract pieced foundation paper piecing patterns, I'm not going to use it for that. But for this, where there is a lot of repetition and it's a simple pattern, absolutely. So if you enjoyed this video, got a tip or a trick or a laugh or two, then make sure to give it the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Keep it positive, y'all. Mr. Domestic out.